definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish redone whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 365 Flicks podcast. My name is Kevin. I am the pissy ex-video store clerk, the better half of the podcast. The man with the plan does, I would say, 70% of the work. Chris is not with me tonight because, well, he's a bit of a busy bastard. So he's been, I've been furloughed during this lockdown, so people will know from other episodes that we've had out. But Chris has not. He has been working and working and working, so I'm not going to hold that against him. Tonight's episode, though, is an indie talk. It's we have got Spencer Collings, stuntman coordinator and military advisor to the stars. He's been involved in some absolutely fantastic projects, and the bulk of them being Tom Paton projects. He's part of the hashtag Patonverse that I so love to push forward. Films like Black Site was when he came on board, and then he moved into The Ascent. The Ascent is the movie that used to be known as Stairs. You will have heard us talk about it quite a lot over the past year or so. We've promoted the absolute living crap out of it. It had its premiere at Fright Fest last year, but it is coming out now. It is dropping today, the 12th of June. It is dropping, and it's having, get this, so because of the whole coronavirus pandemic thing and the world going into an apocalypse and basically ending, Tom didn't just want to throw The Ascent out onto digital streaming and VOD. He was like, what else can we do? How can we make this premiere super special? VR, virtual reality. That's right, folks. If you have got one of these Oculus headsets or HTC Vives or a headset much of that vein, one of these virtual reality headsets, you can go to the premiere of the movie in virtual reality. You can sit down in the theatre. Somebody may even bring you some popcorn. I don't know if that's how it works. It probably isn't how it works. But virtual reality, man, I don't know if this has been done. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's the first of its kind. It may have been. You may be able to correct me and say, oh, and if that's right, that's right. But personally, I don't think this has been done, and I am absolutely excited to see how it works and how it goes. So, you know what I did? I went and ordered myself one of these headsets. I'll probably not be able to get a seat now because I think the seats are like limited to so many people. That's mad. You would think like a virtual reality cinema would be huge and you could have like 10 million thousand people in there. But I don't know. I don't know how it works. I can't wait. I'm just going to check it out. I'm going to see, and hopefully I get my seat, get my popcorn, get my juice and my drink. So that's going to be awesome. The Ascent, formerly known as Stairs. You can go back and listen in our catalogue to other episodes where we have promoted it. Like the time we went to the set, did I mention we went to the set? Chris fell over a potato and basically nearly broke his neck, which was funny as hell. I'm telling you now, if you've been on our social media, you have seen the video. So yeah, that happened. Then we did an episode where Elena Wallace, who is a fantastic actress from the Northeast, came on to talk about the movie, and Toby Osmond, who you may remember from Game of Thrones fame. He was the new Prince of Dawn. He came on the show to talk about it. Sam Schnitzler, total kick-ass badass. What a woman she is. Sam, keep an eye out for Sam. She is going so many places. She's so good. I would say, yeah, I'd put her up there with the likes of Linda Hamilton in total badass stakes. And then we also had Bentley Kalu, or Kalu, I can never remember how you say his last name, but Bentley came on the show and he was fantastic. Done loads and loads of voice work on games you have played and you will know, been in loads and loads of films. A Patonverse alumni, as most of these people have become now. So for this one, for the release of the movie finally coming out, for it dropping, for people being able to see it, because if you don't have a VR headset, you can get a 2D version on birdbox.com, which I am told is a streaming site. So you'll be able to go on there and you'll be able to get it from there. You'll be able to buy it and watch it that way, which again is awesome as well. So do that. If you don't have a VR headset, do that anyway and get the movie and watch it, and you're going to love it. But with all that, I thought to myself, why not get Spencer Collings on? Spencer is the man behind the scenes working with good pal Darren to do the stunt coordination and the military advising. But for this one, he'd worked with Tom on Blacksite. But for this movie, he took on the role of Carter Harris, I would say, one of the most intriguing characters of the movie. You know this man has been places and seen shit. Maybe drawing from personal experience, I don't know. We get into that in the interview. But to get Spencer on and talk to one of the guys from behind the scenes that's doing all that, but then moves in front of the camera and pulls off a badass character like Carter Harris, check out the Mohawk. Yeah, it was important to me to have Spencer on the show. From the Ascent, he went to work with Mr. Paton on the likes of G-Lock, Mr. Paton's next sci-fi fair with Stephen Moyer and Caspar Van Dien. I know you've heard me talk about that. Those interviews are incoming too. And then he did 400 Bullets with Tom, which has Jean-Paul Lee and Andrew Lee Potts, which looks like it's going to be the nuts. Another Mosley Studios production. But also, he's been doing some TV work. He's been doing some amazing TV work on TV shows like Pennyworth, the DC spin-off of Gotham City Batman TV show that I absolutely loved. If you've listened to the main podcast, you will have heard me talk about it. Paloma Faith, phenomenal. There you go. He also went on to work on Sky One TV show Strike Back, which has a phenomenal fan base. As far as army shows go and military shows go, Strike Back is still one of the gold standards. It's a little bit out there for me, but I have enjoyed it in the past. I've not seen the new series, but he went to work on that show as well. We get into that a little bit. And, of course, Gareth Evans' epic mini-series, Gangs of London. Spencer worked on that too. He worked on the famous episode 5, which, even if you haven't seen Gangs of London, you've heard about this episode. Chances are you've seen most of it. It is a fantastic episode. So getting Spencer on was a no-brainer. I absolutely loved speaking to the guy. He's one of the most humble guys in the business that I've spoken to. He is supremely talented at what he does, both in front of and behind the camera. So please do take your time to listen to this. You never know. He might even give you some tips on how to get into the business and how to get started in what he does. So listen out for that. We are the 365 Flicks podcast. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on Stitcher, Spotify, Libsyn. You can find us on all those good places, any third-party podcasting app. Please, if you have found us and you like what we do, leave us a review. Leave us a 5-star review if it's there, 10-star review. Just leave us a review. Even if you don't like the show and you want to give us a shitty review, throw us 5 stars anyway. It doesn't matter to you, but it matters to us. So do that, please. You can also find us on the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, at 365FlixPod. We are everywhere. As Chris would say, we are like shit in a field. So go to those places. Hit us up. Speak to us. If there's somebody out there you think we should be talking to, let us know. We will get in touch with them and we will see what they're all about and get them on the show. So we're all those fantastic places. We have many, many homes as well. Many websites that house us and love us and look after us. We are on the Tangent Bound Network. We are on the Danger Entertainment Network, the Wicked Radio Network, nerdly.co.uk, our British home. We love Nerdly. Phil Wheat as an absolute legend. And then we also have our very own website, www.365flixpod.com. Easy as that. Go and find it. You'll see my reviews. I put up lots of reviews on there. Independent stuff, all that kind of thing. Just anything I watch, I'll review it. It's not always up to date, but we try. So this interview, Spencer Collings, I absolutely loved this interview. And if you hang fire till the end of the episode, I'm going to tell you about some episodes coming up that, interestingly enough, Spencer also helped us get off the ground. So, like I say, we love promoting the indie guys. That's what we're about. This interview is a great interview. Spencer, Take it away, my friend.
Do as you are told and pull the fucking trigger.
Maybe I could just wait here.
Clearly, this situation and what we did are connected. I always said I'd follow you into hell. I just never thought you'd actually take us there.
So, with the imminent release of Tom Paton's The Ascent, formerly known as Stairs, which will be coming out tomorrow, well, today's Thursday, so I'll be putting this out tomorrow, so it comes out today. It's getting a VR premiere, which is exciting. That's good to see. I thought it was time to get another interview, because we did a few a little while back with the likes of Elena and Toby and Bentley and Sam. But I thought, why not get one of the other actors, which is Spencer Collings, who is also a stunt coordinator and military advisor on the movies. So I thought it'd be good to get him on. He plays Carter Harris in the movie, and get his perspective on the movie as well. You'll also have seen some of his work in other projects, mostly as military advising and things like that in Netflix's movie The Outlaw King, Star's TV show Pennyworth, Sky One's Strike Back, and Gareth Evans' Sky Atlantic Cinemax show Gangs of London, which will be awesome to talk about because I was a big fan of that. Not to mention he's been sticking with the Patonverse, and he's going to be in the upcoming G-Lock and worked on 400 Bullets. So we're going to get him. We're going to talk about all these things. But first of all, Spencer, my man, how are you today?
I'm really good, man. Thanks for having me. It's really appreciated. Thank you.
It's not a problem. I mean, full disclosure, we kind of did this a little while back, but we needed to refresh everyone and get into, because you can be a little bit more open about some of these projects now. Whereas last time when we asked you questions, it was kind of, oh no, lads, I'd have to kill you. It
was looming an hour and last time. I was like, non-disclosure agreements, can't be saying that.
I mean, we don't want to get you in trouble at all, but So first of all, I've been starting most of my chats like this right now, and it's a bit of a crappy way to start, but we are in some extremely unprecedented times with everything that's going on, and I'm just like to find out with guys from the industry how are you getting on with the whole lockdown situation, and how is it affecting your work?
Work-wise, it's obviously put it to a complete halt due to the and that shutting down, because I actually worked in a production 3 days prior to the lockdown from Boris Johnson, which was the 20th of March, and I think that was probably one of the last productions that was currently up and running prior to the lockdown. I'm waiting to hear from certain individuals regarding up and coming work, but there's nothing I can do about it, really. You know, I'm not going to throw my Teddy in the corner and kick off about it. What it is. There's other situations in myself.
It does seem to be one of those things, like especially with the military advising side of things, the stunt coordinating kind of things, like it is a complete stop, whereas some directors and producers and whatnot have been able to, you know, within reason, do little bits and pieces, but your guys, actors as well, it's pretty much a full stop till everything goes back.
It is, but then I've got sort of occupied in mind with other things. You know, I slipped back into the security sector for a while. I was doing some retail stuff. I was doing some stuff with some Saudi families and stuff, doing residential security and stuff. I'll be honest, I've been doing a shed loads of fitness. I think I'm the fittest I've been in years. So I've kept my mind occupied, you know. I've been reading, I've been watching positive things on Netflix. None of this stuff that's relating to anything that's going on around, because I don't watch the news. I don't get involved in politics and stuff like that. I don't feel it's something I need to be attached to myself.
I think that's kind of where I made the mistake, to be perfectly honest with you, because when it all kicked off, I couldn't stop watching the news, and I had to watch every little thing and just bug myself down. And then about 3-4 weeks into things, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go and sort my garden out. I'm going to go and do things in my garden.
I think how many people out there, you know, have sort of got around to doing things they've put on hold for years, and they finally got around to doing it.
Like I say, my garden's never looked better in the podcast. I've never been as busy as I am right now with the podcast.
There you go, exactly. You know, I'm in my 40s now, and I think my fitness, I could go and piss the army entrance test and piss other things. I can't believe how fit I've got over this time period. It's like I've gone and done a fight camp. It's crazy.
One of the things that, and I know it's all kind of conjecture right now and whatnot, but when you do kind of go back, how difficult or how different do you feel like your role, both in front of the camera and behind the camera, is going to be with a social distanced world?
My personal opinion from people I've got a funny feeling it's going to be a case of people abide by things to a point, and then it'll be like, you know what, guys, we've really got to crack on with this.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling that people are going to be starting to side waivers and stuff like actors and stunters. They're just going to crack on and do stuff.
Yeah.
That's my gut feeling, because you can't physically do stunts on set of actors and stunting, and you can't physically do major scenes with supporting artists and actors and so forth. You've got to have these community guidelines and government guidelines on sets and stuff that's been set up by committees and boards. You know, it's just it's not going to physically happen. You know, so I think it will happen, but I think there'll be a case, you know, where someone might try and say, guys, so we just fucking crack on with it.
I could see that being the case, but we'll just have to see. I mean, we're not going to be anywhere near normal for a little while quite yet, so we'll just have to see what happens.
100%. I reckon there's little bits drifting around at the moment that I'm hearing are starting to pick up again, but I'm being told certain things aren't picking up till July, August, and then the main sort of structure of things sort of September, October. So, you know, we're looking. No, the financial year runs from April to April, so we've not really lost much time within this financial year. But I think there's going to be a lot of productions going on TV within the TV industry and film areas where people are going to be like, we need people. You know, I don't think there's going to be enough people around to work on all the amount that's going to be running at the same time.
Which will be good for you. Just pick up every little bit of work going.
Fingers crossed. You know, I did have a job lined up with parts to talk about, and I was pretty pissed that I didn't do it, because it was like nearly 2 months worth of work, and I was like, shit. But you know, it happens. It is what it is.
Well, hopefully it'll all pick up again. And we'll hit the ground running again, because we need to get the movies back up and running, because there's only so many straight to streaming that I can watch.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's just that there's a lot of stuff out there that I've never have watched if I was to work. I just wouldn't have watched it. Like Ozark, I've watched all 3 seasons of Ozark, and I was like, Jesus, you know, I would not have got around to watching that at all.
Yeah, I've been much the same. I got quite lucky at the start of the lockdown. I was talking to the guys at the Romford Film Festival, and they kind of. We'd been talking back and forth, and Spencer turned around to me and he goes, "How do you fancy joining like the judging and watching all the movies?" And I was like, "You want me to watch 200 movies? I've got plenty of time."
One of the things that I've sort of been doing is that, like I said, I'm watching things that I wouldn't normally watch, and sort of, you know, things like Brassic. I don't know if you've watched Brassic.
Yeah, class.
Like lead actor in that is like phenomenal, and I wasn't aware of his abilities prior to watching him. And now I'm in awe with the guy. You know, Joseph, is it Gilgan? Joseph Gilgan?
Gilgan, yeah.
So he's a phenomenal actor, and I couldn't believe how good he is. And I've been watching other stuff that he was in, and that's someone I think is going to be started leaping into different areas of the industry now, because he's just phenomenal at what he does. You know, Brassic. You know, anyone out there who hasn't watched Brassic, I highly recommend it, because it's you know, it's got that sort of thing that people can relate to, but it's got that comedy aspect to it as well. So you've got a bit of fun side to it, but then also it's got that sad side to it. But it gives it a mixture of stuff, and it's all come from that guy. You know, it's come from ideas from his head, and it's just fucking amazing. I love it.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of Gilgun, and if you haven't seen, I think it's on Netflix, Guy Pearce movie Lockdown.
I saw that straight after I finished watching Brassic.
He is absolutely immense in that movie.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time with this dude, and it's someone I think Tom is trying to get hold of.
Oh, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I'll tell you now.
It would be good to get him on set. It'd be fucking amazing. Tell me about it.
Unbelievable. Right, so Spencer, we have been speaking on and off now for a couple of years, basically, going back to Black Site. I didn't quite get to meet you on Black Site, but I heard about the stuff you were doing there. And then on the set of Stairs, which is now the Ascent, I got to meet you properly, and then we had a bit of crack when I came to the set of G-Lock. So we've been off and on, and I feel like we the podcast, myself and Chris kind of know you quite well now. But for our listeners, Could you give them a little bit of a rundown about who you are and what led you into this industry, and why first and foremost, stunt coordination and military advising?
Regarding the avenues I've gone down, I'll start with that and then I'll backtrack and everything. Yeah. I've just been at the right time at the right place, and I've connected with the right people, I think, and they've seen my attributes and ability, and they sort of took a chance on me, I think. The likes of Tom, Paton and George, I worked with them on Black Site. I was part of the stunt crew on that. And then he approached me after that and asked me if I wanted to take sort of a lead with that with Darren, who you're aware of as well. And we sort of got a crew together and worked on the next film. And it sort of went from there, really. And I think once you build that sort of loyalty and respect between people, and there's that comradeship, is it a word I'm looking for, comradeship or something like that? Yeah, I think once you build that sort of tempo with people, I think then more doors start to open. Mm-hmm. And I think if you've got strong work ethics as well, and you push aside the ego, because Jesus Christ, there's a lot of people in this industry with massive egos, and it's something I frown upon. I'm there to do a job, I'm there to do my best, and I'm there to put something on the screen that everyone's going, this is good, I like this. This is, and to be part of a team that have achieved that, from a runner to the director, we're all part of a team. So I think I've sort of been noticed by people, and I think that in a way has sort of opened more avenues for me. The same as working with Paul Bidis. I've been working with Paul Bidis, he's one of the top names within the industry as being a technical military advisor. He run the whole of 1917. Yeah. He had another guy with him as well, who's I've worked with as well, and he's on the ball. But just Paul's work ethics and the way he works, I mirror exactly what he does because I'm representing his company. I work for him. Like I said, first job I did for him was on Pennyworth. And that's back in November 2018, the first season. And he literally just rang me up out of the blue and just said, look, I've got a job, do you want to do it? And I was like, I was a bit of a brain freeze. I was like, is this guy really fucking asking me if I want to work for him? And then he said, yeah, I need you to go to Brompton Cemetery. I need you to set up a funeral procession on the pilot episode. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'm happy to do that. And I did a bit of research. On Churchill's funeral, which is around that era. Yeah. I looked at how things were set up because a lot of stuff involved with military advising, there's a lot of research you need to do. I'd say there's a shitload of research you need to do to get the job right, and so it comes across right on the screen for the audience and stuff with the time periods and that. So I went and did that job. He got good feedback, and it sort of went on from there, really. And then, yeah, like I said, I think it's getting noticed by the right people, but then being loyal and respectful to those individuals, and then also following their work ethic.
Did you, when Paul Bidis was working on 1917, did you do some work on that with him?
I literally was a bit of dust in the wind, compared to what everybody else. Yeah. I literally stood up and helped him, I think, for 3 days on the boot camps for supporting artists.
No, that's cool.
So that, I had a taste of it. I got to see the layout of the trenches. I sort of had principal actors and Sam Mendes and the DOPs and stuff. But I just did as I was asked. I went there, did the job, and I cracked on and did other stuff. But I wouldn't say I was part of it, but I was brought along to it, if you know what I mean.
Hey, if you're there, you're there, though.
Credit goes to Paul and June, the guy that works in, man. They smashed.
That must have been amazing to see, though, like all the trenches and everything. When you see the videos on YouTube of like the side by shot of what it looks like, and then the behind the scenes. It's phenomenal to watch those videos.
Just those 3 days I was there, and I took it in, and I sort of got an idea of how it must have felt. Because we were doing, we were working the guys up. You need to get Paul on the show because he could explain to you a lot better. But it was blocking the guys into their units and so forth within the trenches, so it corresponded with different regiments and so forth that they were with. We were blocking them with props and so forth. So they, some were smoking, some were cleaning their weapons, some were doing other chores and so forth in the background. And I think after it was all set up the way Sam Mendes wanted it to be as they were doing that continuation shot. Yeah. So as you went through the trenches, that you were sort of visualising all those individual characters in the trenches, those soldiers and so forth, doing all different things. Someone may just be sat there staring into space, but someone else might be cleaning their weapon. So it's giving you that sort of feel of what it might have been like back then.
Jeez.
And it was good to see it all come together right at the beginning. But I had my 3 days or 2 days. It was 2 or 3 days, and I enjoyed it. Yeah.
You say that you kind of came into the industry and started working with certain people and then building on loyalty with those guys and everything. But was there any one person who was quite instrumental in sort of getting you going and sort of getting you into it?
I'll be completely honest with you. I've been in this industry now for about 5 years. I was doing SA work to start off with, and I was sort of working for SA supporting artist agency. They refer them to extras, but it's now supporting artists, which I think is an official name. Is extras is a bit like, I don't agree with it, but yeah. So I started off doing that, and I was sort of getting an idea how the sets were. I was more sort of worked on set, doing as I was asked, but sort of absorbing all the information, how the cameras worked, how crew members worked, how they blocked us, how they did reverse shots, close-ups, and I was taking all that information in, and then I just sat there one day and I thought, I've always had an interest for TV and films, and I was thinking, how can I sort of push this more forward? And I rang a good mate of mine up, Rocky Williams, and I had a good chat with him on the phone. And he'd already been working in the industry for a good couple of years, and he's doing really well for himself now. He's just got a really good job working on a feature. And I think, he's recently just been on Guy Ritchie's new film Cash Truck as well. So he's doing phenomenally. But I had a massive chat with him, and he just dropped a seed in my head, and I thought, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go for it.
You're making a bit of a name for yourself, and you were finding the right people to be involved with. How did you find Tom Paton and come on to Blacksite?
Yeah, I worked with a stunt crew, and we got taken on by that. I'm a people's person anyway, so what I did is I was scrolling through social media, I was looking at different things, and I came across this post of Blacksite, just sent a message, and then I think it was his first AD, Craig Hines, and I arranged to have a chat with him down in Southend, and I went to meet up with another guy, sat down, had a chat, and then shook hands, and then we started working with them.
As all the best relationships are formed.
Started working with him, and the relationship built from there, really, and it was... I see Tom as a really good friend now, and I'd see George as a really good friend as well. I before the lockdown, I was always popping over and seeing them in London. I'd be on the phones and I'd be talking to them on WhatsApp, and it would be a case of, I feel like we built that rapport from the start. Yeah. And the first time I met them, although certain individuals have parted companies with Tom and they've gone on to do their own thing, he does have a core set of guys and girls around him that he relies on, and they're very loyal and respectful. He works the same way. It's a case of it's paying it forward,
Yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, we came down to Blacksite, and then we came down to Stairs. Not so much G-Lock, because obviously that was more of a Goldfinch movie, so there was only a few guys that I recognised there. But every time I do come down, it's sort of like you can see the rapport he has with the likes of yourself and the George and everyone like that. George's second in command kind of thing. He does have a great relationship with all the guys, and you can see who's staying. So it's always cool to see who's there.
Oh, it's good, He has a certain way of working, and sometimes when we're on set, it's a bit of a mad rush, But it's done in a professional way. It's done in a way where everyone sort of knows what's going on. But we're used to working at that pace, and it's just we get in there, we get it done. It's like the recent one I've worked in, 400 Bullets. There were some phenomenal actors on it, the likes of James Warren, JP, and Fox, off the top of my head, Tina. Yeah, there were Stephen Blaze, Wayne Gordon, Adele. That was the other lady. That was the person I was on about. But he had he had good people working around him as well with the stuff. He had a guy coming over from America for the lighting, just brought everything out set really well. So he's always forward planning things. But when it comes to doing the stunts and stuff, I think he trusts myself and Darren, and he just says, "Look, what have you got? Let's go for it." And he gives us a few hours to block it. And I think a good thing was with the 400 Bullets, with the actors that we had, some of them have got a lot of stunt background, the likes of JP and James Warren and stuff, and Stephen Blaze and Wayne Gordon and that. They've got backgrounds in Tina and Adele, and so everyone in the cast had a background in some form of stunt. So we found it easier to work like that. With even Andrew Lee Potts. It was something that was probably new to him, but he picks it up really well, and it just gelled really well. When you get to see it when it comes out, you'll be like, Jesus Christ, because we have a lot of time to do it, and I just think he brings people together that he knows are going to work well, and I think that's how it worked well on the Ascent as well. All the cast and crew that are involved, especially the cast, the likes of the cast, they all just gel so well, and you can see that when it comes to life on the screen.
So on the Ascent, which as I've said before is it's coming out to basically tonight, because this will go out to tomorrow on Friday, the 12th of June. You obviously came from Black Site, and you did a good little job there, and you've built up a good rapport with the likes of Darren and Tom and George. But for the Ascent, you then moved into an acting role as well, in the role of Carter Harris. Was this something that you've kind of always been like in the back of your mind, I'm going to do sort of the main roles, I'm going to do the roles, it's not just going to be stunts all the time?
No, this is a complete fluke, and I can tell you now how it happened. I got a good friend of mine involved with it, and I put his name forward to Tom. I said, look, I think he'd do really well for this role, because I also do a lot of headhunting for Tom. I find guys and girls for him that I think will fit into characters and roles that will fit well with what he's looking. And most times we agree, and sometimes he says, no, let's work with someone else, because at the end of the day, it's his thing. What he says goes, and I respect that. But there was a guy that I put forward for it, and his agent pulled him out. His agent pulled him out. I don't know the reasons behind it, but his agent pulled him out. And I was like, shit. So I rang Tom up and said, look, man, I've heard what's happened. And he's like, yeah, shit, we're close to filming. And I just had a bit of a brainwave, and I went, how about if I do it? And he went, what? I said, how about I do it? He said, do you want to do it? I said, yeah. He said, well, fuck it, then do it.
Awesome.
And that's how it happened. And the first day, the funny thing is, the first day I was on set, actually playing the character Carter Harris, I had dialogue with Shane Ward. The first day I was on set, and I had a bit of a brain freeze, and I was just a bit like, shit. But then I spoke to Darren, and I said, look, you're here for a reason, man. You can do this. And I was like, you know what, I fucking can do this. And it just went from strength to strength, and that was my first. This film is my first role in a proper feature.
Yeah.
And with everything we did in it, with a short time period we were filming it, and I was also contributing towards the stunts with it, and I was also doing other parts with it as well. I was helping out in other areas with other bits and pieces. So I was coming in and out of character. I wasn't constantly staying in character. Like some actors, they had that opportunity to stay in character.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. I was in and out of character. And when you watch it, you'll see a scene I did, and you think, how the fuck did he do this by coming in and out of character? So to me, for Tom to give me that opportunity to do that, and because I've always had interest in acting, but I've always had interest in TV and film, and for Tom to allow me to do that, I'm forever in his debt for that. That just gave me that opportunity, and then obviously it opened other doors to other things. I had a small role in G-Lock. I had another role within 400 Bullets. So it's sort of going from strength to strength, and these things are building up my show reel, and I have Tom to thank for that,
Exactly, man. Exactly. It's that whole thing of bringing each other along and just paying it forward and showing the respect. It's always great to see, because you don't always hear it.
100%, man. And I've got the utmost respect. I know he's going all the way. There's probably some people in the that are frowning upon what he's doing, but he's doing it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Completely doing it the right way. He's getting his head down. He's getting on with it. He's got Mosley Studios now, which you're aware of.
Oh God, yeah.
Steve Mosley, who's just, the guy come out of the blue. I think he lent some military vehicles to him on Black Site, and it went. No, was it Black? I think it was Black Site.
Yeah, it was Black Site. Yeah.
It was Black Site. Yeah, and Steve really believed in Tom, the same as all of us did. And Steve supported him as well, So we owe a massive respect to Steve as well for what he's done, and he's supporting Tom. Him supporting Tom is supporting all of us, and it's building our careers,
Mm. Yeah, I remember the story that Tom told me when we came down to see the Ascent being filmed, and kind of said to him, I says, how the hell have you ended up here on this big estate where you drive up and there's fucking statues of lions at the gates, and then there's a huge helicopter on the garden. How have you ended up here? And he started telling us how Steve basically, obviously gave him some artillery for Black Site. And then kind of said, what are you doing next? Or what do you have planned? And Tom was like, well, I've got this one movie that absolutely terrifies the life out of me. And Steve was basically like, if you do that, I'll back you. And it's like, wow.
Like I said, Steve believes in him massively. And that's why I think things are starting to build more around what's going on with Mosley Productions and so forth.
Yeah.
And with bits and pieces. You know, I do think what's happening is going to start evolving a lot more. And, you know, the guys and girls who are stuck by Tom from day dot, you know, and going all the way with him, you know, Tom is very loyal to what he says and what he says goes, you know. So if he says, you guys will come with me, then I know fully well we will. Yeah. You know, it probably sign into a contract, you know, that these names need to be coming along with me. But the flip side is, there's certain individuals that come and work Tom just for their own benefits. It doesn't really work, because you shouldn't just come along for your own benefits and then just swan off and do other things, because that is not working the right way. It's not ours. Yeah.
So, what can you tell us about your character Carter Harris? Because he's quite a pivotal role in the Ascent. So, what can you tell us about him?
Hey, so Carter Harris, he does strike a good mohawk. I'll give you that.
A very good mohawk.
Yeah, he does strike a very good mohawk, and I actually suggested it to Tom, because my hair was growing long on top, and I turned around and mate of mine at the hairdresser. I said, "What do you want to look like with a mohawk?" And he went, "I don't fucking know, mate." He said, "I've never seen you with a mohawk." So I looked at these pictures, and I rung Tom up, and I said, "How about if I do a mohawk?" And he went, "Yeah, fuck it, do a mohawk." So there again, in the barbers, the guy did my hair, and it went from there. And it brings that character out a little bit more, stands it out a bit more, gives you that just that little bit of edge.
Yeah.
But the character as a whole, Carter Harris, he's got a lot of demons inside his head, I would say. You don't really get to have a backstory with him. You sort of need to work out what he's come from. Mm-hmm. But you can clearly see that he's a very loyal individual to Shane Ward's character, and he's always looking over him. He's always looking over the other guys. Although he's not the 2IC, because Sam Snitchell's character is within the squad. Mm-hmm. It's a case of he's always there as Shane Ward's character's right-hand man, and it's a case of he sort of frowns upon things when they go to shit, and he makes one little words, two little word quotes, and so forth. He doesn't really say a lot, but you know he's there, and you know he's always on the edge, and it's like he's sort of one of these people, like, you know, he's there to earn his money and go home, sort of thing.
Yeah, you can. You're right. You do get a sense, because obviously I have now seen the movie, and it's a fantastic film. I love the film. I want everybody to check it out tonight when it comes out and start getting a hold of it. But your character Carter Harris, you're right. There's a lot going on there, and I don't really want to pry too much or anything like that. But is there anything that you drew on from your own life to get the character there?
I would say yes and no, because I just sort of, you know, I've had a shit upbringing as a kid and stuff like that, you know, and I've been through the mills. You know, my army career, I would say, was quite an easy army career compared to others, you know, what my other friends have been through and so forth. So I didn't really reflect back on my army career and stuff like that. I was a physical training instructor, and I was attached to a unit within London, which is ceremonial and stuff like that. So, you know, I was out before the Iraq war kicked off, before the Afghan war kicked off and stuff. So I didn't go to those conflicts. Yeah. So I didn't go back and reflect on that kind of thing. I think it was more of a finding situations in my life which would bring that sort of character out. And it was more reflecting back on my sort of young days. And yeah, I would say that sort of works. And then obviously, because I am ex-military and I've worked security and so forth, you know, I use those certain aspects that I've done within the military and the security, and I brought those into the character with his gait, as in the way he stands, the way he looks, the way, you know, the way his posture and so forth is, and his mannerism, and the way he gives shady looks and so forth. You know, I brought that into the character, which I hope to come across on screen.
Yeah, I mean, I asked the question mainly because there is one particular scene that totally just comes to mind, and I'm pretty sure I've spoken to you about it before. The emotion and the portrayal that you give in this scene, I don't really want to spoil it for anyone, but it is brilliant. You seem to go to a place, so that's kind of why I was asking that question.
I went back to a really, really close for that. That's really dark place. I went back to the traumatic. I went back to a very traumatic time in my life, and I brought that to the forefront. And I literally I imagined I was back there.
Yeah.
And that's what brought it out. You know, within that scene, you know, obviously there's a lot of emotions and so forth going on in that scene. And I didn't realise the camera was literally inches away from my face. I was sucked into where I was. I had tunnel vision. I didn't see anything around me. And when they pulled cut, I didn't hear them pull cut. And then when someone come over and grabbed me, I was like shaking because I had so much adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
And so I went to a dark place for that. So once again, I hope that comes across okay on the screen.
Oh, 100%. I can tell you from my perspective, it does come across, because I don't know if it's also a little part of that. I know that sort of, you've done some acting in the past, but you're not like naturally on-screen presence kind of thing. So when that scene comes along, you're sitting there going, holy shit.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've never been to drama school. I've never done any acting lessons or anything like that. The only thing I've done is GCSE drama at school.
Yeah.
And that was done when I was in a juvenile lock-up school. So we didn't really do a lot in there anyway, because you was just to mess around and be stupid. But I don't know. I think if you've had life experiences and so forth, you can bring that to the forefront of your character. No, I'm not slating anyone who's been to drama school or art or anything like that, because that's a profession. That's something you do. That's a progress. I just do think there are natural actors out there and talented actors. I'm just fresh. I'm just starting, so that's not me. But there are actors who are out there who have never been to drama school, who have never even set foot into a university or a college, and they just use their life experiences. And some of those actors, they come across natural because it shows in their eyes and their features and so forth.
Mm. So on someone who is not really an actor as yourself, and dealing with an actor who's coming into play in their sandpit, so to speak, you had to train up Shane Ward, who is a well-known international singer and is now doing the acting game. And how did you get on with Shane Ward?
Right. I'm gonna go straight to the bullseye on this one, because there's no point in cutting around corners. Darren and I were literally a bit like, Shane Ward, he's a singer, he's been on Coronation Street. Shit, we might be fuck this. So we were like, let's give the guy a benefit of the doubt. When he rocks up, let's just see what he's all about. So he rocks up straight away. I just thought, this guy's really good, as in like his mannerism, the way he approached us, his politeness. I just, there was zero ego with this guy, zero ego.
Yeah.
And it's like I'd been speaking to him for days on the phone or something. He just rocked up and was like, "Oh, how you doing, guys?" We literally had him for about an hour and a half.
Jesus.
I'm a boxing coach as well, you see. So what I did is I worked him on the pads. Darren watched him a distance to see his body mechanics, to see how he worked his hips, how he worked his arms, how he could sell it on screen and so forth. And he was a natural. And we turned around and said, what skills have you got in contact sports and stuff like that? He said, well, I used to box when I was a kid. And we were like, fucking hell, mate, you're not doing too bad considering you haven't done fuck all. And it was like, he picked it up. He picked it up really quick. And then even when we were on set and we were blocking the scenes and so forth, because he's so passionate about what he does, he just picks it up so well, And there's scenes that I'm in with him and so forth, which I can't say because obviously it's not being released tonight. And it's a case of I just felt like I was working with someone who had been doing this kind of stuff for a few years, and to him that's a massive pat on the back.
No, that's amazing. I remember when we turned up and everything. We sort of turned up sort of mid-morning kind of thing. We're walking along the set and everything, and we see Toby, and we know Toby quite well and everything like that. But the first kind of sight we got of you all was you were all decked out. And to be perfectly honest, when Shane Ward walked over, I didn't realise it was Shane Ward.
From going to a knicker factory in Coronation Street to being the leader of the squad, you think, hold on a minute, is this guy actually going to be able to pull this off? And hands down, I will say it, everyone has their own opinions about films. Some like them, some don't. But I will say hands down that he nailed his character.
Yeah.
Completely nailed his character.
So the Ascent is coming. It's coming out today, and people are going to get to see it. And we really want everybody to see this film. We've been harping on about it for a good year and a half to 2 years now.
Yeah.
But from the Ascent, Tom didn't waste any time and decided to go into his next feature, which was G-Lock, which he brought you along for that as well. And I got to come down to the set for that. We're not going to really say too much about G-Lock, but again, as with Shane Ward coming on board for the Ascent, it was stepping up the talent again for G-Lock. So how was your experience on that movie? Obviously, we can't say a great deal about it.
I can't say about it. I can say the guys and girls that were involved in the production.
Yeah.
Stephen Ware, very talented individual. You know, he's done so much within his career. You know, and if anything, I learned things from him, from what he's worked on and so forth. Casper Van Dien, you know, a phenomenal actor. You know, he's still in the mix and doing action scenes and so forth. You know, and I think he's 50 now.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's just, the guy's phenomenal, and it's both Stephen and Casper. They're really nice guys to work with. We also had John Rhys Davis, from Indiana Jones films and so forth, and Lord of the Rings. You know, he was phenomenal to work with. Mike Beckingham, he was on that as well. Sean Paul was on it again. There was also Tala. You know, Tala played one of the main principal actors, and she was very good as well. And she's recently been on a TV series on ITV, I think.
Yeah, that was. I was standing the other week in the living room, and the wife was watching that show, and I didn't know she was in it. And I'm sitting there, and every time she came on the screen, I turned on to the wife, and I'm like, I know her. I was like, I know her somehow. And the wife's sitting there going, no, man, you're silly, man. You don't know who that is. Look at you, Mr. Hollywood. So I went on IMDb, and I realised it was her from G-Lock, and I was like, holy shit, it's Tala. I spoke to her, I interviewed her. That's exactly who it is. So, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, she's done well for herself. I actually, Tom asked me to go down to London to just do an assessment with her, and I met her in London. I think I can't actually remember where it was, but somewhere in London I met her at a gym, and she was very sort of, like, nervous about what she was doing, because she'd never done any sort of thing what I was sort of showing her, you know, sort of giving her a breakdown of what the scenes will consist of and so forth. But when we actually got to set, she got right into it all, and she did really well for herself, considering she's never done any sort of thing that's action-wise. And she did really well, yeah, really well. There was also Emily Hay, I think it is.
Yes.
Was on it as well, and Toby Osmond was on it as well. You know, he had a big part the same as myself. Toby was on it, but all in all, the whole cast. Elena Wallace was on it as well. So, you know, all in all, the whole cast that we had on that, and that was done through Goldfinch up at Highfield Studios. Yeah. The set was all built inside and so forth, and it was. You know, I think you went up to see it, didn't you? Went and see the set and so forth.
I did, yeah. It was insane. It was again a notch up, just another step up for. Well, I say step. It's a leap up, basically. But
working in Drake, I think it was Drakewell Tunnel you worked in, wasn't it?
Yeah, on Blacksite, yeah.
And working in a whole fucking set in the studio, and it's just like, whoa! It's just like complete flip around, crazy.
And you also worked on a couple of TV shows that I want to dive into. We've already kind of mentioned Pennyworth, which I loved Pennyworth. I thought Pennyworth was absolutely fantastic. But another TV show that you worked on was Sky One's Strike Back, which is, we couldn't really say much about it last time. But I mean, that's a long running show that's got a hell of a fan base to it now. So what was it like being on that?
It was interesting. I'll give you that. It was very interesting. I worked under Paul Biddis, like I said, the senior military technical advisor within the industry. I look up to his work ethics and so forth. He literally just contacted me and said, "Look, I've got a job for you. Interested?" And he told me what it was, and he said it's out in Croatia, and I was like, "I'm good for that." But the thing is, with Paul, he won't tell you unless he's been given the thumbs up for something. Which is, I like the way he works at that, because you know, you get some people, they say, "Oh, I've got a job." And then they keep saying, I don't know when it is. But with Paul, it's like he doesn't say anything until he knows it's confirmed. Yeah. Which is a fucking really good way to work, and I like that. So I literally went out there on the 8th of May last year. I spent around there. I even went out on the 8th or the 9th. I think it was the 8th I went out in there. And the 9th, we went into an indoor shooting range, I think it was. And we was using firing Glocks and so forth with the principal actors. I think it was Daniel McPherson, Aileen, I can't pronounce it, I can't pronounce her name, Samoa, forgive me if that's wrong, Warren Brown and Jamie Bamber. So those are the 4 actors I first met out there. And Paul introduced me, and then we went to the sort of party prior to film and production starting on the Monday. And Paul just literally said to me, "Look, mate, I wouldn't have you out here if I didn't trust you." And I was like, Paul's a mountain of a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And next to me, he felt like a school kid. And I was just like looking up and going, "Oh, cheers, boss." But he flew back to the UK on Sunday, I think it was. And then on the Monday, I was on the set on my Jack Jones with a load of cast and crew I didn't really know. And I helped. I just covered Paul while he was on 1917.
Yeah.
And I assisted him on block 1 and 2. Block 1 will be episode 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Block 2, episode 3 and 4. So I had an input with those things. But he sort of left. He put me out there, but the thing is, he contacted me most evenings to see how it was going. So he was always checking up to ensure that I was okay. He was sort of feeding me information that he felt would be necessary for scenes and so forth. And then I'd do my sort of bit of research. And then if anything I thought, I'd always relay it to him and so forth. But yeah, so that was interesting, and to work out in Croatia and work out with a completely different crew and so forth. And I was relaying with the casting department, the directors, the producers. Prior to me leaving on the second stint I went out there, I was actually sat down doing a conference call, and Paul was on the other end out in the UK, and I was still out there. And we had the director and the producers, and I think the writer was there as well for Block 3. Mm-hmm. And I actually sat there representing Paul because he was out in the UK, and for him to give me that opportunity, was massive for me, and that's why I've got the utmost respect for Paul to give me that opportunity. The feedback was good. The stuff we did on set was good. I don't know if you've ever seen the 8th season. Have you seen it?
I've not seen the new series. That's the latest one, isn't it? The season 8. I've not seen this one yet. No.
I never really knew about Strike Back until I went out there, and then when I was out there on weekends, I was sort of going through all the previous seasons and so forth. Paul said to me before I went out there, do a bit of research on the previous seasons, and I did, but it's more like just a flick through sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when I was out there, I was actually watching all of them, and I was getting an idea of the characters and so forth. And, it was interesting. It was an experience. I worked with the likes of Bill Eagles, who's a very well-known director. Mm-hmm. Other directors I worked with and so forth. But yeah, it was interesting. Very, very interesting. It was an experience that was given to me by Paul, which I've got the utmost respect for that. And it just, I did a good job, and then sort of other things opened up after that as well.
Well, speaking on that, because the next show that I saw that you worked on, which I was blown away by this show. And I was even more, well, not even more blown away, but I was buzzing to see the particular episode that you worked on. I think you worked on 1 or 2 episodes, but you were part of the basically the masterpiece of storytelling, episode 5 of Gangs of London, working with Gareth Evans. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that shoot, because working with Gareth Evans, that must have been amazing.
I wasn't there for very long. I think I was there for a week's tops, but a week was enough for me because it was like it was just being on set with like Gareth Evans. His mind he's a wizard.
Yeah,
the guy's a wizard. It's just like episode 5, I think, was his baby. That was his episode, and it was of the safe house. And obviously, you've seen it. You can sort of see that build up from the start, moving right into the safe house, or everything that goes on with it. And it had that sort of raised sort of click to it and so forth. But it was good to watch the end production on the screen. But then it was also good to be involved with certain things that were put on that screen, which you sort of influenced and gave tips to the director and the AD and so forth, which was put into the sort of concept of what was put onto the screen at the end. But I got to meet Jude Poyer as well. Phenomenal stunt coordinator. He has got a phenomenal team that work alongside him, and I think Gareth Evans works. Gareth Evans works very closely with Jude Poyer and his team, which is very similar to what Tom Paton does.
Yeah.
So I think that's, they do a lot of pre-production stuff and bits and pieces like that. So, it's the same as the way Tom works. But in a way, when I worked alongside Gareth, like I said, I wasn't on set for very long, but I got that opportunity to do it. I got similar traits from Gareth in the way Tom works, and I see you know, they're very similar as directors because they both like to edit, they both like to write, you know, and they're both very sort of chilled guys, relaxed guys. You know, there's not a lot of stress coming off of them while they're on set. You know, because I think they've got the passion. You know, they're fully involved with what they're doing. Mm. So yeah, it was a pleasure working alongside Gareth. Like I said, it wasn't very long. You know, I think we did another day or two on another episode. I think that's when they breached the country cottage when they come out of the 2 4x4 vehicles. Ah,
right, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was episode 6 or 7, might have been 8, I can't remember. But that was an experience as well. Once again, Paul gave me that opportunity to do that, and I think it actually worked on that prior to going out onto strike back. I may have, I can't remember, but it was good to see everything coming together. You know, the actors were good to work with. The supporting artists that I had with me were very good. A lot of them were ex-military, so they already knew the mechanics with using the with holding the weapons and standing with the weapons. And when I was explaining to them about a diamond formation and going into extended line and left and right flanking and peeling off into a line and breaching the front door, you know, they all sort of knew already what I was on about, so that helped. Because if I'd have had it, I think if I'd have had essays that had no concept of what I was trying to say to them, I would have had to ask for some time aside to take out a day, because otherwise it wouldn't have come across as well. But the guys that were all involved with that, I think they were actually involved in the whole production itself for quite a few weeks.
Cool.
And they've done themselves proud, because when I was working with them, they did a phenomenal job, as well as the armourer that was there, Rob. You know, he has an armoury company with his wife, who has other people that work for him. You know, that they did a good job as well. All in all, you know, even from the first AD and everyone that was on that set worked their arse off. And I think that projected off of the director, because Gareth Evans is just so calm, cool, and collected. I think that just went on to everybody else. And I think if you get someone like that leading it, I think everyone else plays like that as well. You see.
Yeah, it's quite funny to think of him being quite cool, calm, and collected. I mean, there's no reason why I shouldn't. But when you watch like The Raid and even the 2 episodes of Gangs of London he did, especially episode 5, you just kind of imagine this like fast, frenetic director that's sort of running from here to here and sort of, you know, kind of like a kid with ADHD. But to hear that he's just a mellow, calm guy.
Oh, he's a wizard. Like literally, we done this scene. And he called a couple of the actors over, and some of the stunty guys come over, and he was editing this scene that had just been shot. So the other people were on the big monitors, and they were sort of watching bits and pieces in the playback. And he was showing the actors what we just done. He literally just edited it there and then. And I was just like, "Fuck me, this guy's a wizard." and it's similar to the way that Tom works as well, you know, because Tom's always one step ahead of what he's thinking, and he sort of. When Tom works with actors and crew and so forth like that, you know, some of the advice he gives you is very fucking good advice, and it actually improves that person as an actor or improves that person as a crew member. And it's the same way Gareth Evans works, I think. And that's why I don't know. I just think if you got Tom and Gareth Evans together and they did something together, it would just be fucking mental. it would be some. You know, Gareth Evans is phenomenal. Tom's phenomenal at what he does. But I think if you got the two of them together to do something later on down the line, you know, it would definitely be big.
Well, once we get Gareth Evans on the 365 Flicks podcast, and Tom's already been on, that'll just hook them up, and because we make things happen here.
Yeah. I just see the comparison between the two, and just both the way the guys work. And the thing is with Gareth, he works so really close with his stunt coordinator, Jupoye.
Yeah.
His team, and I think that's massively needed within this industry, because, you know, on some productions it doesn't happen. I've seen it doesn't happen, and the stunt guys will do their stuff. They send, you know, their block scenes, they film it, they send it to the production office. Producers and directors will look at it, they give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But then when they get onto set, the director may say, "Do you know what? I'm actually not happy with that. Let's do something else." Mm. And to me, that's time. That's taking into time. That's taking time away from working on set. And I think if the director works directly with the stunt coordinator and they're doing it all prior to going on set, so you've got that storyboard in place. You've already got those video aspects that have been filmed prior to it. Things have been sent to the actors, so in the loop with what's already going on. You get onto set and you're not eating into time that you don't need to eat into, and you've then possibly got extra time to do other things.
No, you're 100% right. It's one of these things that I'm hearing more and more. Like we've been speaking to a couple of guys, sort of a little bit more in your area, because it's awesome interviewing directors and actors and producers and everything. But the guys in the sort of at the back of the bus that are doing, the legwork with the stunt work and the VFX, these are the guys that I'm really interested in speaking to right now as well. And it's good to hear that some directors, like the likes of your Toms, will jump in and work hand in hand with you guys.
Oh, he's right in the mix. When we did 400, right in the mix of it all. It's literally in with it. JP, James Warren. He does actually improve actors, and you do see a lot of actors that work with go on and do things like Bentley Coop. How do you pronounce Bentley's surname?
Bentley Calu.
Yeah, Bentley Coop. No, he's on Halo TV series. No, you only got to click on IMDb and you can see it's on there.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's Sam Snitchell. She's gone on and done other things. You've got Phoebe Robinson. She's gone on and done other things. You've got Mike Beckin's gone on and done other things. Excuse me if I forgot anyone, but there's other people that have worked alongside him. Toby Osmond, was on Game of Thrones. It's just like people work with him and they evolve as an actor, but he helps them with that, I think. And that's a good thing for a director.
It does seem to be the form that we've spotted. I mean, I've certainly enjoyed speaking to the guy over the years. I mean, for me, it all started with Pandorica. I got sent a screener copy of it. Asked if I would take a look at it. They basically said it's low budget, independent British. Let us know what you think. If you like it, could you do a review? So I did that. Put it up on Facebook. Put it up on the website, and Tom just instantly got back to me and responded to the review, and it was like, oh shit. So I know you guys are all making movies, but he's kind of that way with the guys out there who are trying to promote his stuff as well, which is awesome. He's always been kind with us.
Yeah, well, he's kind to those that are kind to him, and he's loyal to those that are to him. I think that's the best way to work, to be honest. Definitely.
So the Ascent, as it is now called, it's called Black Ops in the US, is it's out today. Well, Friday, which will be today when I upload this episode. I keep getting my days mixed up. Bloody lockdown. How excited are you to have the movie out there to be seen, especially now that you're not just the backroom guy as well, doing the stunts and everything? You are on the screen showing your chops as well.
It's a bit bizarre because I never thought I'd slip into that sort of area doing that kind of thing. And then, like I said, Tom took that chance on me, and he said I did a good job, and it's sort of gone on from there. But I'm looking forward to hitting the US because a lot of my family live out in America, Denver, Colorado, and so forth, and they're very keen to see it. Nice. I've got a sister who lives out there. I haven't seen her for 15 odd years, and she said, "Oh yeah, I'm keen to see him." My dad as well. I haven't seen him for quite a while as well, so they're really keen to see it. And obviously, they're going to be watching with other family members like my nephews and so forth. So I'm proud to be a part of it, and it was. I think it was a big achievement for myself to be in the mix of those caliber actors that are on set. The likes of Bentley, Sam, Sophie, Shane, Lena, Simon Meacock, Toby Osmond, Rachel Warren, Julia, who played that character, which I can't say because people need to watch. Phoebe Robinson. There was Matt and Tiora, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I've missed the name, I'm sorry, but just to be in those caliber actors, to me it was a big achievement to start off with something like that within my career of acting. If I don't act anymore, so be it. That's what it is. I'm happy doing military advising and stunt coordinating and so forth. But if I get bit parts in films, it's just another bit of bonus for me.
Yeah, man, it's awesome here, and I hope you do, because this movie I think it's going to do great things. I think it's going to be a bit of a launching pad for a few of you guys. I'm looking forward to people seeing it, man. What do you make of the VR premiere? What's this all about?
I'm not a technical bod, as you know, from me being late on this, because my PC not really a technical person. I don't really. I'm not really a social media person either. You know, I only normally promote people on there or promote things that I'm doing.
Yeah.
And put a joke out there or so forth. Just a bit of humour in the mix. But with the VR side of things, man, that's a fucking massive achievement, isn't it? Or not?
It's huge. Huge.
It's a massive achievement to get. So I think it's one of the first feature films to go into VR. And I'm visualising it and thinking, if I'm watching it in virtual reality, some of those scenes in that film, yeah, it's going to make people jump out of their skin, I think.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. When I saw the first article that went out, I was like, he's doing what now? They're premiering it how? And then when I read the article properly, I was like, that is absolutely fucking cool. So.
It's a massive achievement, isn't it? You know,
definitely.
The guy, I think it's his sixth film. Sorry, Tom, if I'm wrong. So he did Pandorica, Redwoods, Black Site, G-Lock. So it's his fifth film. To someone to have that achievement, to have their fifth film premiere virtual reality, is a fucking massive achievement within the indie film industry.
It's huge, and it's one of these things that I know that with Mosley Studios, this is what they're trying to do. Is obviously it's to catapult his career as well, but he has this sense of, if I can pull someone else along with me and kickstart their career, so be it. That's what he's all about, and that's what I love hearing.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think Tom's got a lot of ideas and things moving forward. Things that I've spoken to him about, which I can't say.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of things that he's got in the pipeline moving forward, and they're all very positive things, which I think is going to catapult him further within this industry. You know, like I said, there are certain individuals out there that frown upon what he's doing, but the flip side is that jealousy, or is that because you're not involved? You know, I don't know. But at the end of the day, the man's achieving good things, and I'm proud as fuck of him.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be part of that team, along with George as well and everybody else who's taken on along that journey, you know. So what I say is fingers up to the haters, and we're just moving forward.
Definitely, man. And with that, moving on forward, I know there's probably not a lot you can say, and things are a little bit up in the air. But moving forward, what's Spencer working on that he can or can't tell us about?
Like I said, I was due to work on a production for 2 months. I can't say anything about it because it's massively top secret. I can't say anything. It's with a big production. That was all put on hold, so I was pretty peeved about it. But I just took it on the chin and thought, oh well, it is what it is. You know, we're cracking with that. I was due to go out and do working overseas on another job as well. We were due to start something with Tom as well, but obviously that's all been on hold. But I reckon come end of July, August time, fingers crossed, one of those will start coming back into play again, and then the rest of them will fall into play. So yeah, I was lined up straight after March. I was lined up straight to go into another production, but then obviously from the 23rd of March, we've all been down in lockdown.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
so
man, that's...
It is what it is. You know, there's thousands of people that work within this industry who are all feeling the same way as me. You know, and we all want to get back in the mix again, but it's just a case of putting your positive energy into something else and focusing on something else for the time being. Those doors open back up again.
Well, speaking about that, before we came onto the call, I just happened to be flicking through some Facebook posts, and did I see Spencer Collings putting a picture of a script up?
Oh yeah. Well, I've used this lockdown to my advantage massively.
Yeah.
The third draft of a script. We've got 111 pages at the moment. We're going to try and get it down to about 98, 99. So we're probably going to go into about the fifth draft.
Nice.
It's a black comedy action thriller with a dynamic feel to it. That's all I can say.
Nice. I like it.
Yeah, and it's something that I'm going to put in front of Tom, because from working with Tom, it's given me ideas, and from working within the industry and seeing other things and concepts of the way other people work, I've sort of put this into characters and so forth. And I've taken things from certain high production films of scenes, but I've twisted it into my own way. So when people read that, you know, they get an idea and they think, well, I've seen that before, but they won't know because it won't link into what it is about. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, once we've done, I can hand it to the right people. Obviously, get all the right paperwork signed, get a synopsis, put the synopsis in front of the right people to view it, and then once they're happy with that, get them to sign some forms, they can read the script. I think it's got a lot of legs.
Love it.
Every character in it's got a backstory, so every single character, the main principal actors, they've all got backstories, and at the end, they all come into it at the end. So whoever, if this gets into production and someone takes it on, happy days. Whoever plays those characters, you're gonna get all the backstories of them and everything, so you can go along with that character throughout the whole thing.
Love it, man. Love it. This is one of the things, like the whole pandemic and the lockdown situation is absolutely shit. It really is. It's caused a lot of havoc. But I'm seeing a lot of creative people coming out with a lot of creative things. So I don't want to say I'm glad of that, but it's good to see that people are putting their mind to work while we're sitting at home.
It's happy days. All I pray and hope is that not everyone's gone and done a virus film or an outbreak film. Really,
I think we're in for an influx.
Shit, 11, 12, 13 weeks, however much longer we got left of it. The last thing I want to see on my screen is something about what I've just been going through, man. It's just like, fucking really.
I'm not going to lie to you, mate. I've spoken to some people on Facebook and Twitter, and I think we are in for a mass influx of pandemic movies.
Yeah, but it's just something like, it's not going to appeal to me, and I don't think it would appeal to many audience members. It's just like, really? Could you not have thought of anything better to do for a script than just the pandemic virus, which we've just all been going through for how fucking long?
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you. Right.
The concept that I've got, it's that Tom and I have done. It's completely different to anything else. So when it's done, I'm more than happy for you to read it, man.
Oh man, that's awesome! That would be incredible. Yeah, definitely, man. I'm up for that. I'll tell you what, Spencer. I've taken up a fair bit of your time now. We have the Ascent coming out, so I want people to give that a watch. I definitely want them to see you in front of the camera on this one, because the character of Carter Harris is it's definitely an intriguing character on screen to see. So I want people to check this out. Where can the good listeners out there find out more about what you've been doing and where they can see you going forward?
As in where they can see my...
Just where they can find your work.
The normal place we're looking to is IMDb, where you get all my sort of credits and so forth, productions that I work. I'm very sort of... I don't put a lot of my own stuff out on social media platforms. I normally promote others, because I'm more of a promoting others than promoting myself. Because I just feel that's more beneficial and works better for me as a person, because I'm more of a closed book when it comes to myself as a person. I may sound I don't have the confidence in those sort of departments, or the acting side of things, but I'm not. I think I'm one of these that I'm a little bit picky on what I'm doing and stuff on screen, but. I'm learning. Tom's sort of giving me those nudges and saying, "Come on, fucking, you're all right. Get on with it." It's all good. But, IMDb platform. That's where you're going to look at most of my stuff. Obviously, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and so forth. I don't really do any other sort of platforms. I don't do. Is it TikTok and all that bollocks? I don't do any of that.
Oh yeah, no, I can't do any of them.
Yeah, I don't do none of that shit. It's just like I'm more of a grey man, shall I say? I'm more of a grey man. If someone wants to know, hit me up on Instagram. I'm more than happy to phone up and have a chat. If someone wants to look to get how they want to sort of look into getting into the industry, I'm happy to give, which I have done to people have run, messaged me and said, I'm thinking about getting in the industry. I haven't been in it for very long, but I have achieved quite a bit since I've been involved in it. And anyone wants to hit me up on Instagram, on social media, they feel like they want to chat, if it's something they want to sort of work their themselves into, whether that's as an actor, a member of a crew, any sort of aspect, I can give friendly tips and advice. That, I'm more than happy to do that.
Again, man, it's just the attitude I love to hear coming from guys in the industry. It's through we've met a lot of amazing people over the last few years that we've been doing this, but we've also met some that weren't so great. So to meet another one as humble as yourself, it's awesome.
I appreciate the kind words, man. Appreciate having me on.
Glad to have got you back on, especially with the movie coming out, and we can try and push it even further and push you even further. So, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, but I'll try.
No, all support's good support, vice versa, support those who support you. That's what I always say.
Definitely, buddy, definitely. It's been amazing meeting you and seeing you on the set of the Ascent and on the set of G-Lock, seeing the way you and Darren work. I love seeing all that back behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah, finishing it off, Darren, a very good friend. Sometimes we have ups and downs, and we don't do it when we're on set. We normally resolve our issues when we're off set. we're always very good friends, and we work well together. And I think Darren, from the stuff that Darren and I have done with Tom, with working for Goldfinch, working for Highfield Studios for Philippe Martinez and so forth, and people like that, I think they're more than happy with the work we've done, because I bring, I might get a production company call me up like Highfield will phone me up in York and they say, look, we need A, B, and C characters to play this, but they need to be doing stunts. So I will literally research the shit out of someone on IMDb, or I'll look at them on social media platforms. I'll look at their work, and then I'll reach out to them and say, can I phone you? I've got this thing, would you be interested? And I speak to them and I say, look, I'd like to get you on board. And I make sure every penny that is coming from production goes to them. I don't take any of that. That all goes to them. So I'm not into any of that. If you're coming to work, you're doing a job, you're getting paid for it from the story. I try to get most of them on equity rates, but not on equity rates, it's slightly below. All guys that Darren and I have got involved with production and so forth, they've always done a phenomenal job. So everyone that's worked alongside me and Darren, massive pat on the back. I really do appreciate it.
Well, there you go as well. Anybody out there who's listening to this episode and listening to us talk about the stunt coordination and things like that, if you want to get into that industry, give the man a shout. Give him a shout on the Instagram and get in touch. So I'll tell you what, we're going to end it there, pal. Again, I want everybody to check this movie out and everybody to check out the character of Carter Harris, but the man behind him, Spencer Collings. Thanks for coming on, Spencer. This has been awesome.
I appreciate it. Thanks for your time, man.
You've heard others, but nothing could prepare you for the shameful stupidity that is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Witness the hubris as they claim to be the world's authority on comic book movies.
Who said that?
Never said that. We've never said that.
Who cares? A jock said that.
Comic book, TV, movie reviews, news, and whatever they choose. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Jock and Nerd Podcast. Seriously, people really listen to this.
Jock and Nerd.
So yeah, that was Spencer. Please do get the Ascent. Please do, if you don't have a VR headset, which I still think is fantastic, if you don't have one, get the 2D version. You're going to love this movie. It's a bit of a mind-meldy action thriller. I don't know how to describe the movie, but when it finishes, you will be like, I need to start this movie again because I'm not quite sure what just happened. And yeah, you probably won't get it the second or third time around either. Fantastic, fantastic film. Tom Paton has smashed this one out of the park. I can't wait to see what he's done with G-Lock. I can't wait to see what 400 Bullets looks like. And I can't wait to see what the man does going forward, because we spoke to him a little while ago, a couple of weeks back. You can check that episode out. And he sounds like a very, very, very busy man. In the meantime, this episode was a little bit of an impromptu one. We wanted to get it out just in time for the Ascent dropping. But I have some more interviews coming very soon that you are going to be able to listen to. A couple of the guys that Spencer even mentions during this interview. I'm not going to give you all the names, but one of them is Jude Poyer, a stuntman extraordinaire, stunt choreographer, absolutely fantastic man whose career is, well, it's extensive. He goes back to the late 80s, early 90s, the days of the Jackie Chans, the Jet Lis, the Sammo Hyungs. He's worked with all those guys. I absolutely loved speaking to Jude. That episode is coming next week. Listen out for that. It is a bit of a chunky one, but you're going to love it. There's a lot in there that you can take away and be happy with. He was, again, for somebody whose career is so extensive and so good, he is phenomenal. And of course, he works very closely, as you would have heard during this interview, with Gareth Evans. So there's some really good insight onto how that man works. Another interview coming up is Break. Yeah, a low-budget independent British film that I have been keeping an eye on and I've been watching for a while, and I can't wait to see how these guys get on. Break, the director Michael Elkin came on to speak to me about Break, a movie that should have came out just before the pandemic, but then obviously the world went to shit and the apocalypse happened, so the movie's been put back a little bit. We are still getting it. Michael Elkin came on to talk about the movie. That is a fascinating interview as well, just to see how he got his start. Starting off with acting, moving into directing, so you'll enjoy that one as well. So it's all go, it's all busy. If one thing this lockdown has created is a little bit of a monster in me, I have been just going for it, just speaking to everybody, getting some ideas off the ground. There's a ton of good stuff coming, and obviously the main show with me and Chris, the regular schmegular, will be ticking over as well, so don't worry about that. Maybe not the 3.5 hour epic that we just put out the other night, but those episodes are still incoming, so listen out for them as well. So with that, Spencer Collings, what an interview, great guy, loved speaking to him, can't wait to see what he does next, can't wait to see where he goes. Yeah, the Ascent, please do check it out everywhere you can get it, birdbox.com, watch it on the VR headsets if you've got one. I do now. I feel like you're gonna love it. That's me done.